The river surged like a living beast, sweeping away the last lord's body as the village elders watched in grim silence. Kosuke's eyes snapped open in a dim hut. A straw bed, stone walls, the scent of wet earth and decay. His hands were calloused and unfamiliar.
This body, this world. Where am I? The last thing I remember was the earthquake survey. The falling debris.
You are the new lord of Drownhollow, fourth son of House Valen. They sent you here to die.
What do you mean to die? What is this cursed place?
Every spring the river swells and drowns the fields. The last 3 lords were butchered by their own people when the crops failed. You are their next sacrifice.
3 lords murdered by desperate villagers. And yet the floods come every year like a tide. There's nothing supernatural about that. It's hydraulics.
Without a word, Kosuke grabbed a tattered map and headed toward the riverbank, the roar of distant water already in his ears.
The river's path. There must be a flaw upstream, a dam, a bottleneck, something I can diagnose, something I can fix.
And so Kosuke began to study the river, the first step in a battle against a 100-year curse. Kosuke hiked up the river valley, his boots sinking into cold mud, his eyes fixed on the water's edge.
There, a natural rockfall dam, cracked and leaking. Every spring the pressure builds until it bursts. The flood is not a curse. It's engineering failure, an aqueduct with spillways. I can divert the peak flow around the village and save the fields. It'll work. It has to. Elder, I found the cause of the floods. There's a dam upstream that fails every year. I can build a water channel to protect the village.
You, the Lord's unwanted son. We have suffered for generations. Do you think a few stones will tame that river? You will not touch our storehouse. We'll not feed another doomed lord's madness.
Then I'll do it alone, with nothing, against a 100-year curse. They'll see.
He took only what the manor's ruins provided: rusted tools, frayed rope, wooden stakes. At sunrise he climbed the eastern ridge and began driving stakes into the earth to map the aqueduct's path. And then, gripping the shovel like a weapon, Kosuke thrust it into the hard ground to start the first trench. Day after day, Kosuke sank his shovel into the rocky soil, ignoring the sharp laughter from the village edge.
Their mockery means nothing. Every inch I dig brings the river closer to the fields instead of the houses.
Then, on a morning of drizzling rain, a tall shadow fell over his trench.
Lord Kosuke, I am Toma. I saw your stakes on the ridge. Let me dig with you.
Why would you risk it? Your own people think I am a fool.
My parents died in the last flood. If there's a chance to stop it, I'll dig until my hands fall off.
Together, they hauled stone from the hills, set foundations in the swampy ground, and built the first arch of the spillway.
The dam, it's worse. The cracks are wider. The pressure wave could hit any day. We have days, not weeks. I have to finish the channel, or everything was for nothing.
Kosuke doubled the work shifts that night, his voice raw as he pushed Toma and himself harder. The race against the river had become a sprint. As the aqueduct's arches rose against the sky, a column of refugees appeared on the eastern road.
More mouths to feed. Our granaries are almost empty. They'll starve with us.
Then they work for their meals. We need every pair of hands to haul stone and timber.
He put the refugees to work, but the village's resentment simmered beneath the surface.
The dam, the cracks are spreading. If it bursts, everything down here is gone. Toma, we reinforce the dam face now. Bring every log you can spare.
They braced the crumbling stone face with rough-hewn timber, but water still hissed through the gaps.
Lord Kosuke, the aqueduct channel is nearly sealed. One more day and it can take the flow.
One more day. If the dam doesn't give way tonight.
As night fell, the first heavy drops of a new storm began to hammer the earth. The river was rising. The dam shattered with a roar, unleashing a wall of brown water down the valley.
Now, Toma, open the sluice gates. all the way.
The torrent hit the aqueduct, and the stone arches groaned, but held firm.
It's working. The spillways are redirecting the surge. The village is safe.
The water rushed through the channels, sparing the fields and homes for the first time in living memory. As the sun broke through the clouds, the villagers emerged, staring in disbelief at the dry streets.
Lord Kosuke, you broke the curse. I was wrong to doubt you.
This is just the beginning. If the Baron learns of our success, he'll see a threat.
That night, the village feasted on what little they had, but Kosuke's mind was already on the next battle. Through the turning seasons, Kosuke channeled the villagers' gratitude into a reconstruction blitz.
Toma, we'll replace every mud hut with stone. The foundations must be deep and rammed earth.
And the mill, my lord? The water wheel will grind a season's grain in a week.
A school. Teach them to read, to calculate, then they'll understand my work.
The market square soon overflowed with traders from distant provinces. Drown Hollow became a destination.
Lord Kosuke, such wealth will make the Baron covetous. He won't ignore a rising power.
He's right. I must plan for defenses. But first, let the people enjoy peace a little longer.
For now, the aqueduct's shadow fell over a village reborn in stone and learning.
The Baron will come. But when he does, he'll find Drown Hollow ready.
And so the village prospered, but the shadow of the Baron grew ever longer. The Baron's tax collector arrived at the bustling market with 2 armored guards, his face a mask of disdain. By order of Baron Veldrich, the village of Drown Hollow shall henceforth pay triple tithes, effective immediately.
Triple. The Royal Charter grants our village tax exemption for the first 5 years. We owe the Baron nothing.
The collector sneered and warned that refusal would mean seizure by force. As the horsemen rode off, the market fell silent, the threat hanging heavy.
A minor lord dares defy me. I will crush this upstart and salt his fields.
He won't wait. I need to turn the village into a fortress.
That night, Kosuke began sketching concealed walls and archer positions. He added a floodgate mechanism. If the Baron besieged them, the river itself would become a weapon. The silent war of preparation had begun. 3 days later, the night watch caught a man in dark clothes near the granary. A baronial spy.
You'll tell me everything, or the river will have another body.
The spy broke quickly. The Baron would march after the harvest, before the first snow.
After harvest. 2 months at most. We must hurry. Toma, every able body trains with spear and bow. No exceptions.
Yes, my lord. The floodgate timber is all in place. We'll finish on time.
By day, they trained with wooden swords. By night, they dug hidden trenches and laid the gate's iron gears.
Lord Kosuke, scouts report the Baron's banners are moving toward our valley.
Seal the outer palisade. Ready the floodgate for the worst.
The once sleepy village had become a fortress, and its lord stood on the ramparts, awaiting the storm. Before the Baron's army could arrive, a royal envoy with a white banner appeared at the village gate. By order of King Alaric, you are to cease fortifications immediately. The Baron claims you are building a rebellion.
Rebellion? I merely defend my people. Here, our ledgers, the Royal Charter, every grain accounted for.
The envoy scanned the pages, his lips pressed thin.
He's afraid of the Baron. If the king believes this lie, we're all dead. Toma, summon the elders. The Baron's lies won't stand if we expose his crimes.
But how, my lord? The king may not believe us without proof.
Then I'll find proof at the dam. That flood was no curse. It was a weapon.
The envoy departed, unconvinced but without a formal order to disarm. And so Kosuke set out toward the ancient river dam, knowing the real battle for his village had only just begun. Kosuke climbed the crumbling dam alone, his engineer's eye tracing the stonework. It was too uniform for nature.
These stones were laid with purpose. There, something metal beneath the moss.
He scraped away the vines to reveal a bronze plaque, engraved with a snarling wolf over crossed swords. By order of Baron Veldrich, this dam shall flood the valley in perpetuity, to claim the land for the crown.
It wasn't a curse. It was a land grab. The Baron's family has been murdering us for generations. Toma, not a word of this. If the Baron knows we have proof, he'll attack before we're ready.
But my lord, this is our chance to end it all.
It's a weapon that can destroy us if we fire too soon. We wait for the king's ear.
He carefully replaced the moss and stone, hiding the plaque from any other eyes. And so Kosuke descended the dam with a secret that could topple a dynasty or bury them all. That night, in the dim stable, Kosuke handed a copied map and the dam plaque's inscription to a young woman, Lyra.
Ride for the capital. This must reach the king's own hand. The Baron's entire dynasty is built on murder.
2 days later, on a forest road, baronial guards dragged Lyra from her horse, the satchel torn open. In his war tent, Baron Veldrich read the copied inscription and tore the note in a white-knuckled grip.
So the engineer knows. Then we give him no time to whisper to the king. Kill the girl and march for Drown Hollow tonight.
Lyra was executed before the next sunrise, her body left at the crossroads as a warning. A week later, a ragged refugee brought the news to Kosuke. The Baron had intercepted the proof and was accelerating his attack.
My lord, without the king's help, we're on our own. His army is 3 times our number.
Then we'll drown them with the river they built. No more waiting. Ready, the floodgate.
That very morning, the Baron's army crested the valley ridge. The siege of Drown Hollow was about to begin. Under the torchlight of the meeting hall, Kosuke faced the 12 village elders, their faces lined with fear.
The Baron's army counts 600 spears. We have 200 farmers. A straight fight is annihilation.
Yet you smirk as if you hold a hidden blade. Have the spirits gifted you magic, boy?
Not magic, engineering. The floodgate I built can release a controlled surge. It will sweep through their siege camp before they can retreat.
But our fields, the harvest will be destroyed for years. You would have us starve to kill our enemy.
The Baron executed our messenger. He will slaughter every soul if we lose. The fields can be reseeded. Our lives cannot.
Silence hung heavy. One by one, the elders bowed their heads in grim consent.
I'll lead the gate crew myself. My lord, when you give the word, the river will answer.
Everything rests on that gate. One mistake, and we drown ourselves.
By dawn, every villager was at their post, eyes fixed on the valley where the Baron's banners fluttered in the morning mist. The Baron's army fanned out before the palisade, 600 spears gleaming in the pale morning sun.
Lord Kosuke, surrender the village, and your lives will be spared. Resist, and I'll nail your head to that aqueduct.
The only thing you'll receive from Drown Hollow is a grave. We know your family's secret, Baron.
Then die with your secret. First wave, advance.
A wave of infantry rushed the walls under a hail of arrows from the village, men falling before they reached the stakes.
They're breaking on the hidden stakes. Pour more arrows into the second rank.
The Baron's first assault crumbled against the reinforced palisade, leaving 24 dead tangled in the stakes.
A farmer's wall stops my knights. Bring up the battering ram. We'll smash that gate before sunset.
Toma, reinforce the gate, but no floodgate yet. Let him spend his strength on our walls.
As dusk fell, the Baron's horns sounded retreat. The first day of siege ended with Drown Hollow unbroken.
This cursed engineer's walls hold. Fine. We'll drown him with his own river. Dig a diversion channel tonight.
Soldiers labored by torchlight to carve a canal, but Kosuke had foreseen this. The river water, instead of flooding the village, was caught by secondary drainage ditches and fed harmlessly into the marsh. By morning, many of the Baron's men were sick with swamp fever, too weak to fight. Then, on the near hill, a lone herald on a white horse appeared, a royal banner in hand. By order of King Alaric, this battle must halt. Neither side shall advance until the king judges the Baron's accusations.
The king interferes now? He'll let us bleed until one side falls, then condemn the loser.
Then we give the king no loser, but the peasants. Double the guard on the eastern approach. At dawn, we break them.
Toma, the herald won't save us. If the Baron attacks tomorrow, open the floodgate on my signal.
Both sides locked eyes across the valley, waiting for sunrise. At first light, the Baron himself led the charge, his black horse trampling over the dead from the previous day.
Forward, you dogs. This village will be ash by noon, and their lord's head will rot on a spike.
On the ramparts, Kosuke watched the swarm approach and raised his arm to signal the floodgate crew. At Kosuke's signal, Toma threw his weight against the rusty lever, and the great gate groaned open. A wall of water, held back for weeks, burst free and roared down the valley like an enraged dragon. The Baron's army had no time to flee. The torrent swallowed men, horses, and siege engines in one gulp. Armored soldiers sank like stones, flailing in the muddy water, their screams drowned by the roar. The Baron's heavy armor pulled him under. The river claimed the man who had cursed it. A handful of survivors crawled onto hillsides, abandoning weapons and banners, broken and terrified. Kosuke stared at the drowned valley from the ramparts. The price of victory lay in the mud. Kosuke walked among the bloated corpses of the Baron's army, his boots sinking in the silt.
This was victory. 100 men drowned for 100 years of lies.
That night, by a single candle, Kosuke penned a full account, the plaque's inscription, the dam's date mark, the Baron's intercepted orders.
Toma, take this scroll and ride to the capital yourself. Let no other hand touch it.
2 weeks later, a royal emissary returned with Toma and a dozen of the king's own guard. Kosuke led the emissary up to the ancient dam and pulled away the moss, revealing the baronial plaque. The emissary traced the engraved wolf with his fingers, his face hardening.
Now the king will know. The question is whether he values truth over his own peace.
3 days later, a messenger brought word King Alaric himself would journey to Drownhollow to pass judgment.
My lord, if the king rules against us, we have nothing left to fight with.
Then we'll rebuild with our hands, as we always have. But I believe the truth will free us.
King Alaric arrived in splendor, his white horse stepping through the village gate as the crowd fell to their knees. The king inspected the ancient dam and the bronze plaque himself, his face unreadable as he traced the wolf crest.
This engraving is over a century old. The Baron's house has been a poison in my kingdom.
Turning to the gathered villagers, the king's voice carried across the silent square.
Lord Kosuke acted in defense of his people. He is innocent of any crime. The Baron's legacy is hereby erased.
Then he withdrew a sealed scroll, the ducal seal bright against the sun.
For your genius and courage, I raise you from lord to duke. The entire province is yours to govern in perpetuity.
Kosuke knelt in the dust, accepting the heavy parchment with trembling hands.
I accept this duty, your majesty, for Drownhollow and all its people.
The crowd erupted. The elder wept. Toma cheered, and Drownhollow was no longer a cursed village, but the heart of a new duchy. As the celebration roared on, Kosuke slipped away, his new ducal robes heavy on his shoulders.
This is what we fought for. Not just survival, but life.
He paused by the school window, hearing children reciting multiplication tables, a curriculum he had designed.
They'll grow up understanding that the aqueduct was not magic, but math.
The mill's water wheel turned steadily, grinding grain for bread, a sound of daily life, not war.
My lord, Duke Kosuke, hiding from your own celebration.
Just remembering why we dug that first trench, seeing the children learn, the mill turning, it was worth it.
Every life here is because of you. Don't forget that.
They stood in silence as the sun dipped below the aqueduct, painting the stone arches in gold.
A cursed village, rebuilt. A lord, reborn. This is enough for today.
But as the last light faded, Duke Kosuke reached into his tunic and withdrew a roll of fresh blueprints.
Another project. My lord, haven't we built enough for one lifetime?
Enough? Toma, there's a whole province out there. Valleys divided by ravines, villages isolated by rivers.
He spread the plans across the grass, a design for a stone bridge, its arch elegant and wide.
You want to span the East Chasm? That's impossible. The gorge is too deep.
Nothing is impossible with the right truss design. We'll connect the two valleys and cut travel time by 3 days.
Kosuke traced the lines on the parchment, his eyes alight with the same fire that had built the aqueduct.
Then I'll be your foreman, Duke Kosuke. Or just Kosuke, if you prefer.
Kosuke laughed, a sound that had been rare in Drown Hollow before this spring.
We'll make this land unshakable. Bridge by bridge, aqueduct by aqueduct.
Later, Duke Kosuke stood on the stone balcony of his manor, the festival lanterns twinkling through the streets below.
They're not just surviving anymore, they're celebrating life itself.
A small hand tugged at his cloak. Kosuke turned to find a young girl with braids holding out a wildflower. She called him Lord with a shy smile and pushed the flower into his palm.
Thank you. This may be the finest gift I've received today. This is why we built the walls. This is why we fought, so they could grow up safe.
He stood slowly, the girl at his side, and gazed out over the rooftops and the gleaming aqueduct.
I am not an outsider anymore. This place is my home.
For the first time, the weight of the ducal mantle felt like a blessing earned. He smiled softly and let the evening breeze carry away the last of his weariness. The festival roared to life in the square, drums pounding and dancers spinning under the lanterns. Kosuke watched from the square's edge, a quiet smile on his face as the village celebrated. A familiar, gravelly voice cut through the music behind him.
Duke Kosuke, I never thought I'd see this day. My old eyes have wept twice now.
Neither did I, Elder. But here we are.
The elder leaned on his gnarled stick, his weathered face alight with the fire's glow.
You were right about the river. You were right about the Baron. And I was a stubborn fool.
You protected your people with what you knew. That's not foolishness.
They clasped hands, old skepticism and new trust bridging the years.
You are our true lord now, Kosuke, Drown Hollow's eternal lord.
And so Kosuke, the reborn structural engineer, used modern architecture to rebuild a cursed village and became its eternal lord. Not through birthright, but through sweat, steel, and vision. The fields, once drowned, now yielded harvests. The river, once an enemy, turned their mills. Trade caravans rolled through the once forsaken gates, carrying Drown Hollow's stone and grain to distant kingdoms. And in the heart of it all, the aqueduct stood as a monument to a promise kept. On the hilltop, Duke Kosuke gathered his rolled blueprints and looked down upon his domain. The people below knelt, not in fear, but in gratitude. A lord who had dug trenches beside them. His genius had saved them, and his courage had freed them. Drown Hollow was no longer a curse, but a legacy, written in stone, water, and the heart of its people. And so begins the age of the Eternal Lord, Kosuke, the Rebuilder.